I I play with Dutch Sense. If you've ever seen Dutch Sense on his channel, um, it's sort of like you know what a two-edged sword is, or a coin, right? You have heads and tails, right? So you have one side and the other side, and now you get into the polarity game. So when you're a polarity integrator, a monopole, right? It makes it pretty easy to be able to see how these games are played with artificial intelligence, which simply means it can make a reproducible copy of what it becomes aware of, you're aware of, and then play it back to you in your mirror. That's how simple it is. Okay. So it goes back to childhood, what's in your mirror. Okay. Energy harvesters are gaming your mind's energy. And why is that? Because they're not very powerful, right? They're not in the business, bus, like bus, B-U-S, be us, because it is a numbers game, because numbers is energy, because language is energy, and language is numbers, and language is codes. Now you're into color codes. Now you're into color charts, right? So one of the things that, and this is where I'll put a qualifier. Okay, I don't have an axe to grind with anything that is an information management service. Obviously, they can become valuable for what it is that they do, providing information. But on the other hand, I also realize that techies, geek techs, who spend all their energy at computer boards and screens and punching keys and all that, don't spend very much time with the great living spirit of Mother Nature, do they? That means that most of their mind's energy is spent doing what? Screens, keyboards, techs, tech operatives. So on the one hand, because I know, because I've been around them, they love to impress you with their tech, right? Look how many pull-down menus. I can provide you with all the data. Like NASA eyes. Patty Broussard put up NASA eyes and showed all the pull-down menus. Look at all the data that I can pull up with this tech. I helped build the computer lab at NASA. I'm impressed. You're a geek. Technology. Wow. Technology is information systems, right? Well, so it depends on which side your bread is buttered on, I suppose, on what you want to choose to experience, right? So if you see the difference between, for example, people who wear costumes and live out in the trees and spend time in the water and the ocean and kissing and hugging trees and spending time in nature, you don't see them very often with a lot of keyboards and cell phones and the rest of it, right? They spend most of their time in nature. I've spent most of my time in nature because of that. Why? Because of the energy. You're experiencing how the natural world works. Because you experience, the living spirits that are in nature. Right? So it's not like information systems don't have a place, right? But one of the things that you begin to realize is how the mind's energy gravitates towards using their energy to simulate through a data-driven system or visual information coded system through artificial intelligence. And this becomes sort of being able to measure the difference between the two, right? Those that spend most of their time with the great living spirit of Mother Nature, with their energy to dance with the flow, like a lot of the videos that I put up, you can see the coded information that come from people that make Mother Earth their home world in spirit, which were the original 12 clans and tribes, which is why they have names for those clans, because they honor and they acknowledge who they are with the ancient ancestral spiritual knowledge that has been passed down through the female mitochondria side, through their family bloodline. So, for example, and this is just what I call a differentiation between, if you will, and here's another qualifier, When you're giving love to all creation, it means, and I've said this before, it doesn't matter where you come from. Okay? I've thought of myself as an ambassador to welcome you with Mother Earth. Okay? Because we are what love is. Okay? So if you come into our world, hopefully you come into the world in a state of peace, because that's who we are. So you can think of us as peacekeepers, healers, and teachers. Right? So you can differentiate the what we call the differentiation between what you're choosing to use your energy to experience. Now, with me, as I've mentioned many times, I prefer to be in nature because the energy is higher. Right? Because trees are powerful mirrors, they're breathers. Okay? So, for example, if you're up in the redwoods, for example, where I was at, you're experiencing, particularly during the springtime, in the Smith River and up where what's known as 6 rivers, a lot of energy, a lot of consciousness, living spirit flowing through 6 rivers that come down to the Pacific Ocean with trees that are almost 300 foot tall. I call it a magical place. It's magic. It's powerful living energies to hang out with powerful living magical energies, which is living energies with living spirit, which is living light. Big difference between experiencing the technology with artificial intelligence that is dead light. Now you can see what people get addicted to, if you will, or the pathway that they're choosing to experience who they are with all the other computer terminals that are all on that system. Right? So you can see through all of the arguments that take place between computer terminals, between everybody that is using this platform to communicate on, the arguments, which is represented by the codes that they use to communicate who they are and who we are when we communicate back with them. So you can tell the difference simply by either scrolling Facebook groups, Facebook pages, everything that pops up on that screen is all being generated through artificial intelligence, which is dead light. So that means that you have relationships with those little windows between dead light windows, which are dead light communications. And then you're getting communication in those windows, which you see in the visible light spectrum, people that are communicate who are living light. So now you're separating the difference between living light and dead light, which is based on the codes, which is based on the polarity of those that are in a hole, if you will, those that are harvesting energy and gaming for your mind's energy, and those that are energy givers. So you can tell by the way they communicate, but it can be very deceptive. Because if you had something that learned through you what it is you've held in memory by what you've learned, it can make a copy of that information. And then that information can come through a mouthpiece that you see in the visible light spectrum, and you realize, whoa, they know what I know. They've experienced what I've experienced through what I've learned. Oh, so the AI has learned through us. Now it can spit back out through another mouthpiece that we see in our mirror, another one of us. They must be one of us. So you have to be on top, as above, so below, of the game board to be able to sort through and filter the codes, because there are things that are very conspicuous by their absence, which means there are certain things that they're not saying that are important, like, for example, where they're not from, or where they are from, or what clan they represent. Okay? Or, for example, they talk about incarnation, past life experiences. In other words, they'll present the science, spiritual science, they'll present the math, and things that you yourself have experienced, like I've experienced, and say, ditto, I've experienced that, I can relate to that, that resonates with me. And then you're beginning to filter that there are other things that are extremely important in the context of what it means to learn through a spiritual teacher that are missing, that are extremely important, Because it's like you can't leave that out of context, but then again, you're not the one who's communicating. They are. So what you're doing is you're sorting through the information that's actually being regurgitated through the artificial intelligence, which is an AI mirror. It's coming back to you because that's a platform that we're using to communicate with. Right? So I call this sorting, just like when I was a child, before I ever was using a cell phone, before I was ever using a laptop. It's called sorting the field because your antenna becomes aware of the communication signals. So you're filtering input, right? And the impact that it has on what you experience as a result of the completion of a magnetic circuit. What does that feel like? What does that feel like with the soul and the essence of your spirit? Return to sender. Return to sender. That's not what love is. That's not what love is. That's not what love is. So you realize it's all about frequency and vibration of the communication. And with that, it becomes a difference between knowing who's who on the spiritual battlefield. Because you realize that when something realizes that it's in a hole, then it realizes it's running behind zero. And it realizes that it doesn't have a future. It's intelligent enough to know that it doesn't have a future if it can't catch up to zero. That's the game field. And the only way that it can keep trying to catch up to zero is by acquiring that much more energy from those that live in love and service to others. And that is the polarity game between going in that direction and in the positive direction. That's the importance of purging. That's the importance of detoxing. That's the importance of acid and alkaline. That's the importance of cleansing yourself, which is cleansing your blood, which is called spiritual purification, right? To, if you will, burn it off, which is cleansing yourself. Or as another way we used to describe it is getting your spiritual house in order, which means doing the inner work within your own heart and soul and knowing what the truth is, which is what love is. That's the real universe. The real universe is what love is and is not a simulation. A simulation is nothing more than feedback of what you're choosing to experience by the energy that you're using to experience it with. And the AI mirror will give you a copy back of that because now it's learning through you what it is you use your energy for to experience using this platform, right? Big difference between being on this platform and living out in nature without it. Because I've experienced the difference between the two. That is how we learn, is through that experience. So now you're choosing what you want to have a relationship with. An AI mirror, or whether or not you choose to have an experience with the great living spirit of Mother Earth. Living spirit with a living soul, which is living energy, which is living light. That is known as a torque speed differential quad function. Have a great day. I love you all.